fans. Appreciate you streaming on in here to Birds 365 with your Mac and Mac guys. John McMullen and Jody McDonald here to hang with you as we get that much closer. The Eagles, Giants, less than 80 hours now until kickoff of the divisional game to be played in South Philly on Saturday night. Johnny Mac down in South Philly yesterday. We got some more info to add to our estimation, more like guesstimation, as to what will be Jalen Hurts' shoulders condition when the game gets underway on Saturday night. I say more good than bad. How about you?
Oh, yeah. Far more good than bad. I mean, now it kind of depends how you frame it. Obviously, he's not on the injury report, which was an estimation because it was a walkthrough, but so very positive sign. Now, I've seen other people say, well, that means Jalen's completely healthy. No, that doesn't.
No,
it means
doesn't.
He's going to play. That's what that means. So it kind of depends how you frame it. And I've said from the start, we're not going to know if the Eagles are protecting him or if he's protecting himself until game time. I mean,
Sure.
And Jalen was asked that question flat out, and even he said, I don't know, depends on the situation. And what I kind of took from that, people can take it however they want, the offense is going to be the offense, and if they get up late, they're going to start protecting things. If they have a comfortable lead, they're going to err on the side of caution. That's how I kind of took that. But I do expect, everybody expected him to play, and that's certainly going to be the case. And I do expect the Eagles to put the zone read stuff back of the offense. And, he made that quote, which is a good one. As a starting quarterback in this league, you always have a bounty on your head, not a bounty in Buddy Ryan terms or Greg Williams, Sean Payton terms, but legitimate bounties where, are illegal. But the Giants are going to want to hit that shoulder and test that shoulder. There's no question about it.
Again, much like yourself, I came away feeling pretty good about it. If you felt one way yesterday at this time, if you're on Birds 365, appreciate you joining in playoff week. I feel better about it because, hey, yes, no limitations in practice, full go. Yeah, I know it was only a walkthrough, but last week they had walkthroughs too, and he was listed as either partial or didn't participate in those practices you got to watch. He didn't do a whole hell of a lot of throwing, so that's a very good step in the right direction. Love the quote of the bounty stuff. Got a bounty on him every week. He's the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you expect? There's a bounty on the opposing quarterback. And the fact that he said was feeling good. Yeah, I was hoping for a different answer on will you be able to run the offense the way it's normally run. He kind of hedged that you laid out that, well, it kind of depends. He didn't know. I was hoping for, yeah, we're going to run our offense. The offense is the offense, and it's going to be what it's been all year. He didn't quite go there. So that's my only restraint on getting excited about Jalen Hurts and his level of participation and what he's going to be able to do Saturday against the Giants. I feel better. I'm still not at 100%, and I still will cling to it. It'll be this way right up until kickoff when the Eagles will defer if they win the coin flip. The only thing that scares me is Jalen's shoulder, because if Jalen is – and again, these are individual belief type numbers. 90% of what he was when he was the leading candidate for MVP in the National Football League. Eagles are going to win this game, and they're probably going to win it handily. But we won't know that until the game starts. And we got a little bit more information yesterday, which was good, but not all of it was perfect. But it is certainly a step in the right direction, so we'll take that. Lane Johnson also back in practice yesterday. A couple legal injuries are going to be very key in this game coming against the Giants. Maybe it's me, but for some reason, I'm less concerned about Lane Johnson than I am about Jalen Hurts. And Lane Johnson's injury is actually worse than Jalen Hurts' injury, but it's the type of injury that you can play with, that you can get numbed up and you can go out there and you can play the game. We heard so much about how much pain Jalen was in after the game when he played against the Giants 2 weeks ago. Oh, that going to be able to say the same thing about Lane Johnson, but I'm pretty damn confident that he's going to go out there and he's going to be Lane Johnson. Is Jalen Hurts going to be Jalen Hurts as we know him to the highest level of his play he had this year? I don't know. I hope so. Cross your fingers, but I think we're going to have to wait and see. I'm more confident that you won't see any kind of a drop-off with Lane Johnson. Am I looking at this through eagle-colored glasses?
Yeah, that's another one where, I mean, I'm a little bit more concerned than how you framed it there. I would say that. I mean, he is an offensive lineman. You know, you got to generate power from your core. And obviously that's what he's dealing with, a core muscle injury. It's the groin more than the abdomen. Now, Lane, you know, spoke pretty freely about it last week, and you know, when he returned to practice during the bye week, and he seemed very confident that he could play through it. I know Cam Jordan has played through it, and he's friends with him, and he was going to talk to him. So I'll probably get more information on that this week. But yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, yeah, you know, the thing about Lane is, and you know, with all due respect for the Giants, and I think, you know, 2 years from now, we might be having a different conversation because Kayvon Thibodeau is a tremendous athlete, but he's raw and he's still, you know, no matter where you look, he only had 4 sacks. You know, he wasn't, if you want to look at the advanced sites, he wasn't a top 50 edge rusher. He's not there yet. And is what I'm trying to say. And Lane Johnson is, you know, the best right tackle in the world, as Nick Sirianni calls him. He hasn't given up a sack in over a year. It's ridiculous. He's given up 1 quarterback hit. He is a dominant, and you know, nobody brings this up. I guess because he's a right tackle, and you know, some of them, most of the all-pro teams now, they do it more equally, and they do left tackle, right tackle. But in years past, when Lane first started, they usually put both left tackles. Just left tackles were more high profile. This is a Hall of Fame level player. Everybody talks about it with Kelsey. Lane Johnson's a Hall of Fame level player at right tackle. So from the standpoint of 80%, you know, these made up numbers, 90%, yeah, he's gonna be just fine. My question is, can he finish the game? Can he finish? You know, if you're hurt, you're hurt. And it's happened to him before. We just had to leave. He got hurt in the Giants game originally. That's where it all started, the blowout at MetLife. And he was forced to leave. Now, it was a blowout, and he said after that game he could have finished if it were a close game. So, you know, there's other aspects to it, but he did have to leave the game. And I'm at least, you know, a little wary that he might not be able to finish the game.
Maybe it's because of his career resume, as you just pointed out. We know he's Pro Bowl, All-Pro, these many levels, and yeah, Hall of Fame consideration has to be given as well. I just think he's going to be able to be a full go the entire game, and he will play like Lane Johnson, not like a partial Lane Johnson or a compromised Lane Johnson. I think he's going to be Lane Johnson, and maybe, yeah, that is a little cockeyed optimistic out of me, but I'm giving you my honest read. I'm doing that with Jalen Hurts, which my questions are lessened, but they haven't completely dissipated. Lane Johnson, I'm pretty darn positive. Now, yesterday you told us you would be highly surprised if Avonte Maddox was able to play Sunday against the Giants, and that was kind of confirmed by yesterday. The only Eagle not to participate in practice was Avonte Maddox. Maybe that was me just trying to do math, trying to figure out how many weeks since he got hurt, and the fact that the Eagles didn't put him on the IR, which they could have, because you mark off 4 weeks and then you can come back. You like roster flexibility, so if they knew he was going to be guaranteed to be out for at least 4 weeks, they would have put him on IR. They didn't, So this would have been week 4. So I was crossing my fingers and hoping that could be the case. Yeah, it's not happening, is it, John? We're just going to have to go under the assumption that Avonte Maddox isn't playing until we find out he is, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, there is hope that he'll be back, whether it's the NFC Championship game or a potential Super Bowl appearance. So, but that's one we'll have to wait and see. It's pretty clear. It's very unlikely he's going to play this week. And, you know, the positive to that is you don't have to deal with the big explosive offense, the big explosive passing offense, the great receivers that so many teams around this league have. You know, Isaiah Hodgins has been a great story. Darius Slayton's, you know, a competent NFL receiver. And Richie James has done a nice job, but these are not, you know, high level receivers that you're typically going to see in this league. So you should be able to get through. And I think Jonathan Gannon made the prudent decision, and he blasted, you know, what's going to happen is CJ Gardner-Johnson's going to play safety when they're in their base defense, which is, you know, the 2 linebackers. And when they need a nickel, CJ's going to play the nickel, and Reed Blankenship is going to be in at safety, and he's earned it. Reed Blankenship has played better than Josiah Scott more consistently, I think, is the real sort of thing that put him over the top in that discussion. Because Josiah's played well at times, but he's also played really poorly at times. And, you know, the consistency just hasn't been there. Reed's been a lot more consistent. And CJ's, you know, probably the best thing about week 18 was that CJ proved he was completely healthy back from the lacerated kidney. And that was a big positive sign.
And you mentioned the Eagles' base defense. Isn't the Eagles' base defense really with a nickel cornerback out there? Aren't they in that higher percentage of time?
Yeah.
And they don't.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
base to me
know,
is the
old
defense
tropes,
you're in most of the time. And most of the time they've got 3 cornerbacks on the field.
Old tropes die hard.
Yes.
But they have changed recently when they played poor passing teams, and for lack of a better term, and they played less nickel. Now, when they're playing, and most teams, you know, most teams in the NFL have, you know, there's differences between the Tyreek Hills of the world and the Devontae Adams and the Justin Jeffersons of the world. But most teams have good receivers that can really hurt you. And yeah, the majority of the time, the base defense should be defined as having a nickel on the field. But they have shifted later in the season, and they were playing lesser nickel back, partially because Avonte's not out there. That's probably part of it. When he's playing, they want him out there as much as possible. So that factors into it as well. But also because they thought they could get away against certain teams that weren't very explosive passing the ball. So they have shifted a little bit. And the Giants are that type of team. So they might not play as much nickelback as they typically do against most teams.
Yeah, but the nickel is their base defense now. No matter who they're playing, I think that they have a 3rd cornerback out there more often than not. But that's I don't break it down.
Unquestionably, from a stats point, it's not even close.
Right.
I'm saying old tropes die hard. You know, people say 4-3 base defense, 3-4 base defense. The Eagles don't even play any of that, but that's how people identify it. So.
And the key guy who's going to benefit from it, as you just pointed out, is Reed Blankenship. He's going to be playing some safety because they're going to drop Chauncey Gardner-Johnson down into the slot to play the slot receiver. Hopefully he's up for the task. I like the alignment better than when Josiah Scott is out there. You mentioned some good, some bad. the bad has been really bad, and it jumps off the page like a sore thumb. Yeah, Reed Blankenship. Now, Daniel Jones is a very good running quarterback. Actually, he's a better running quarterback than the Giants' third-string quarterback, who did run over Reed Blankenship down by the end zone earlier. That's one play that Reed would like that back. But he has played pretty darn well when he was just straight up filling in for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And he's probably going to have to make some plays against the Giants this upcoming Saturday. All right, last question for you before we get up our first guest. That would be, as usual, on Wednesdays, Mike Gill. Hey, are there any awards to be won? Gill, coming up here in a couple of minutes. There's the Wednesday award.
Yeah, not for the Eagles. They didn't have to play, so that was their award.
Can't win any. They don't get they don't get the bye week award. They didn't have the eating of the Pizza Hut for the Giants, for the coaches.
That's the best.
Giants
By the way, can I just throw? I made a lot of jokes about that yesterday. There were a stunning amount of Giants fans that took that as disrespect. I don't know what's wrong with people. I really don't. This game can't come close enough. So, I joked. I put the over-under at 2.5 fans taking this seriously. I put Eagles coaches ordered dinner during Giants-Vikings game. I haven't seen that level of disrespect since Micah Parsons talked about how talented the Eagles offense was. Kind of tweaking both ends of the spectrum, Eagles fans and Giants fans. And I said, how many people are going to think this is serious? There can't be anybody not getting this kind of sarcasm. Oh, there were people. It was way over 2.5. It was way over 2.5. That was the easiest prop bet of all time. And it's unbelievable. Unbelievable, Jody.
And I'm kind of with Siri on this. I like stuffed crust pizza. I thought it was a good call by him. Some people go, nobody eats Pizza Hut anymore. Why? They got all these other great Italian places.
The other aspect.
Get another pizza. Really, we're evaluating the choice of Pizza Hut as their pizza restaurant choice. Come on, don't we have better things to talk about with the Eagles Giants coming up as to how misguided they were to go to the Pizza Hut call?
Oh my God, you had so many pizza snubs. You got to go local. Oh, you can't do that. You can't go to. Just stop it. Stop it. You don't have to parse. They're human beings. He wanted stuffed crust pizza. Leave him alone.
Exactly. And I happen to be a fan of the Pizza Hut. It's been a while, but I've always enjoyed it. So good on Nick that he got the kind of pizza that he wanted. I am going to ask both you and Mike Gill, who's going to join us coming up in just a couple of minutes, about the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles and what this game kind of means to his resume. Phenomenal year, coach of the year candidate, may or may not get it. I think it's 3 of the 4 teams left in the NFC playoffs are the top candidates for coach of the year. And I think any one of the 3 can legitimately lay claim to it. One of them will get it, in my estimation. But reputations grow with postseason wins. So how big a game this is for Coach Sirianni. All right, he's John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. You got your Mac and Mac guys here on Birds 365. As we do on Wednesdays, we're going to head down the shore next. Mike Gill from the Sports Pass, 93.7 ESPN Radio. Going to stream on in with us here on Birds 365.